So Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5 is now dropped on Disney Plus. I've just watched it, so now it's time for the Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5 recap review. And this episode starts off right where it left off in episode 4 with John Walker running away from the scene of the crime of killing the Flag Smashers. He is running to Bucky and Sam. And Sam and Bucky, they're not happy with John Walker. They've seen what he just did and they're like, alright dude, time to give us the shield. Like, you are not fit to be Captain America. And John Walker, the serum is working through him. He's so psychotic and he's like, I am Captain America. You guys don't want to do this. And Bucky just looks at him and is like, oh yeah, we really do want to do this, John Walker. We were talking about this all the way back in episode 2, man. We want to take that shield from you. We're gonna take that shield from you. And it really reminded me of when Captain America and the Winter Soldier fought Iron Man in Civil War. It was just that three-way battle. And it ended so brutally. I mean, there were some really powerful hits in it. John Walker ripped off Falcon's wings, for crying out loud. By the end of it, Bucky and Sam, they get the shield from John Walker, and Bucky grabs John by the leg and swings him and just smacks his back into Captain America's shield. And I thought they broke his back for a second. Like, I thought John Walker was out. He was done for. Like, it looked really harsh. John Walker gets back up, he's still alive, and Bucky and Sam, they leave, they get out of there, and they got Cap's shield back with them. So back home, John Walker is on court trial, and he is being discharged from the army. He has lost all of his privileges, he's lost his benefits, he's lost his retirement, he's lost everything from the army, and he is just like, you know what, you guys made me. Like, I was only doing what you guys told me to do. You guys built this, okay? And they're like, yeah, you're no longer Captain America. You're basically a nobody now. Get out of this courtroom. And John Walker is just livid. He's so mad, and he's talking with his girlfriend or his wife, and he's just like, they just don't understand what it means, what it's like to be Captain America. He totally still buys and believes that he is Captain America, and he's kind of losing his mind a little bit. He's definitely going down that psychotic villain path. And then he is approached by this mysterious lady, the power broker, perhaps? We don't really know yet, but he is approached by this lady, and she is basically trying to recruit him for something we don't really know about yet. And she's like, hey, you know, killing that Flag Smasher was the best decision that you ever made in your life. Or actually, it was the second best decision you ever made in your life. What's the first best decision? Picking up the phone when I call. From there, we catch back up with Bucky and Zemo. He has tracked Zemo. He is at the Sokovia Memorial as he is paying his respects. And Bucky goes up to Zemo and he's got a gun. Zemo was ready to take that gun to the face. Like, he was standing there. He's like, I'm ready. This is my destiny. Just do it. Just do it, man. Just do it. Just shoot me. He pulls the trigger and it goes click. And you see Bucky has the bullets in his hand, and he drops all the bullets, and he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna kill you, okay? But they're gonna take you in. And you see the Wakandans, they come from behind Zemo, and they take Zemo, not to Wakanda, they take him to the raft, that underwater prison that was in Civil War. Which tells me that Marvel's like, we're just gonna store Zemo away until we can pluck him out again whenever we want to use him. So Zemo's definitely gonna be back, whether he's back in the finale or in the show, whether his time in the show is done now, is yet to be seen. I kind of hope he's back. I like Zemo in this show, and I want to see more of him. I feel like he didn't have as much to do as I wanted him to do. But if he's done, I still think Daniel Brühl did a phenomenal job as Zemo. Bringing him back into the show was a lot of fun. We catch up with the Flag Smashers, and Carly and Flag Smashers go to their old kind of like headquarters base, and they find that it is just ravaged by the GRC. I can't remember what the GRC stands for. I'll put it up here because I can't remember. But the GRC has taken all their people, and Carly's like, how long is it going to be before we can just be citizens of this world again? And you really see the Flag Smashers, Carly in particular, the leader of the Flag Smashers, she's starting to do whatever it takes to get her point across, and she's starting to go down some dark paths. And you see the people around her are kind of like, Carly, like, this is kind of going too far. Like, we've already had a guy die by Captain America, so how far are we going to go with this? And later on in the episode, they bring in this guy and they hire him to kill Sam. But before that, we go back to Sam, and he is meeting up with Isaiah, and he's bringing Captain America's shield to Isaiah, and he's like, hey, you know, like, you should be Captain America. And that's when we get Isaiah's backstory of how not only was he experimented on with the serum, but a bunch of his other comrades were experimented on with the serum. And they were going to be killed by basically the government that did all these experimentations on them to cover and hide the experimentations. So Isaiah actually went in and saved all of these fellow comrades of his that had the serum experimentations, but they all died off from the serum, and Isaiah was the only one the serum took. and he actually lived through the experimentation. So he got thrown in prison for 30 years as they experimented and tried to figure out why he was the only one that the serum worked on. The only reason he was able to escape is because a nurse took pity on him and basically helped him fake his death so he could escape, and he's been living out in hiding all this time. And Sam's like, wow, like, we should get your story out there. And he's like, we can't get my story out there. The minute that I step out that door, I'm a dead man. You really think the world has changed? Like, they won't let a black man be Captain America, and no self-respecting black man would want to be Captain America. And Sam's just like, okay, dude, I was already in conflict over this thing. Like, I did not need that on my shoulders. But it really is a pretty powerful conversation, and a really deep conversation that this show kind of tackles for a little bit in this episode of the whole, like, Captain America being a black man scenario. And that has kind of been Sam's internal conflict throughout the show, is taking up the Captain America mantle and feeling the pressure and the responsibility of what that would mean. But from there, Sam goes back home to his sister, and they decide that the boat that they were having a fight over in episode 1, whether they sell it, whether they keep it, they decide it's time to sell it, but no one wants to buy it because it's kind of a hunk of crap. So Sam calls all these people, all these family and friends that his parents ever helped out, basically, and says, hey, come on over, help us fix this boat so that we can sell it. And along with them comes Bucky. Bucky comes along, and he brings this suitcase that one of the Wakandians gave to him after they arrested Zemo. And he gives it to Sam. But Bucky helps Sam fix the boat. It's this long kind of like montage of Sam and Bucky working on this boat with some kind of cute moments as Bucky's using like his powers to do things faster and quicker than Sam can with the tools. And there's also that like kind of funny moment where he uses a wrench and Sam's like, why didn't you just use the metal arm? And Bucky's like, oh, well, I'm right-handed. It doesn't always come to my mind. I thought that was kind of funny. And this really worked to just kind of like chill the characters out because I never really had a bonding experience outside of fights and on the mission. So I liked that this episode kind of slowed down a little bit and had them work on this boat together to kind of bond over something more grounded in reality. Although I will admit, I stayed up all the way till midnight on a work night and I was watching the sequence of them build this boat and I'm just like, why did I stay up till midnight? This is kind of slow and it's not really that interesting, but I understand what it did for the characters in the moment, and I thought that was really good. And then Sam and Bucky, they're outside and they're throwing the shield in the woods, and they kind of have this kind of moment where they have amends with each other. Bucky apologizes to Sam for being so harsh on him about giving up the shield because he felt like that shield was family because it was part of Steve, and when Sam gave away the shield, he felt like he was giving away Bucky's family, and that was kind of like a really nice sentimental moment. And Bucky's like, I don't think Steve or I ever imagined or thought of what it meant to give that shield to a black man, so he apologized to Sam, and Sam accepted his apology, and also helped Bucky out a little bit because he's like, hey, are you still having those nightmares? And Bucky's like, yeah, and Sam's like, well, you know what, you've been doing all these amends, you've been apologizing to people and trying to do that for you, but you have to do like the real work. You have to help these people that you've wronged to get out of this dark place that you're in. And you just know that that's setting it up for Bucky to go up to that old man that he was hanging out with in episode 1 and be like, hey, I killed your son. I did it. I killed your son as Winter Soldier. And from there, Bucky and Sam, they kind of go their separate ways as Bucky goes off to probably apologize to that man, and Sam goes off to train to be the next Captain America. We get a full-on, like, Rocky training montage as he's running in the streets. He's building his endurance, and you see him throwing the shield and doing all these crazy flips and stuff in the air. There's a moment where he's throwing the shield like a frisbee and it's bouncing off all these trees and he catches it in his hands. And I just wanted like Sam to like drop the shield and just like look at his hands as they're bleeding because the shield cut through his hands, because Sam's just a normal human being. And that's something that during this training montage was always in my head. I'm like, but he's not a super soldier. Like, how is he doing all this stuff with the shield that only assumedly Captain America could do because he was a super soldier? Sam's just a regular guy. How is he able to do all this? That's something that I'm still not like fully on board with, but it is really cool to see Sam take on the mantle of Captain America, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where he's gonna go with this and how the finale is gonna play into Sam finally being Captain America. Which does bring us back to that suitcase that the Wakandian gave to Bucky, who then gave to Sam. Because at the end of this episode, the GRC are going to be having this vote on whether or not to bring the refugees who were displaced after the blip back to their home countries. And Carly and the Flag Smashers are infiltrating that vote the GRC are having. And you see the one Flag Smasher say to the other Flag Smasher, one world, one people, which is basically the new Hail Hydra. as the lights go down in the room, as they start to circle around these members of the GRC who are going to have this vote. And Sam gets alerted by Torres that the Flag Smashers are in New York, where the GRC is, and Sam clues in that they are going to attack this vote. So Sam goes over to the suitcase from the Wakandians that he got from Bucky, and he opens it up, and the episode ends. We don't get to see what's in that suitcase. I imagine it's a pretty cool, like, Wakandian build, kind of like Black Panther, Captain America suit for Sam to wear as he's the new Captain America. I do suspect that'll be a pretty big reveal in the finale for this next week, but that's not where the episode really ends, because we finally get a post-credit scene, and what is it? We see John Walker in his garage or his basement. He's pounded on some metal. He's put his medallions, the medals that he got when he was in the army, he's put it down and he's pounded into this like piece of metal. You start to see the circle form, and he's painting it white and red, and you realize this fool is making his own Captain America shield, because he believes with everything in him that he is Captain America, and he's the anti-Captain America, basically. They have set John Walker down this path of villainy where he's going to be the evil Captain America that they're going to have to take down by the end of this finale. And that's kind of where we get left off with episode 5. Episode 5 was a much chiller episode than the past episodes have been. We get to sit with the characters a little bit. Some character arcs are kind of starting to get completed. We're starting to settle down a little bit as we go into this finale that I'd imagine is going to be a big action-packed finale as they take down the Flag Smashers, and they're going to have to take down John Walker as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with this in the finale. And as far as this episode goes, I thought it was a very nice episode. It wasn't the most exciting, wasn't the most intriguing, but as far as what it did for the characters, there were a lot of great character moments that I really enjoyed watching. And I'm really looking forward to how these characters' stories end in episode 6 that we will get this Friday. So what did you guys think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 5? Comment down below, let me know. I want to know all your thoughts and opinions on this episode. Join me again as I will be talking about episode 6 later next week. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an upload and that we can finish this series together. As always, you guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video and checking out my channel. Once again, my name's Zachary Milne. Thank you for talking movies with me, and I hope you have yourself a great day.